Yeah, warm welcome to this workshop on EU funding, specifically on the EIC Accelerator. It is my pleasure to be your host today. My name is Pascal Müllner. I'm from Human Technology Styria, a life science cluster in the south of Austria, and we are organizing this event in the framework of i3Highs, so our EU project with 9 partners from 7 countries. I also see some of our partners here, so I'm glad to have you here. And it is also now my pleasure to introduce you to the 2 experts from Inspiralia that will guide you through the jungle of EIC Accelerator and EU funding. So first, I would like to introduce you to Angel Gonzalez. He has a PhD in biotech, has experience from 15 years in academia. He was also co-founder or founder of 3 spin-offs in biotech. He's now working for 6 years in Inspiralia, dealing with health projects, and is also the leader in the health team of the Accelerator program in Inspiralia. Glad to have you here, Angel. And then also I would like to introduce you to Javier Calvé. He's a Swiss-Spanish graduate in European Business Administration, and he has more than 30 years of experience in dealing with grant business and EU funding. He's now working for 11 years in Inspiralia and is the managing director of the DACH region for Inspiralia, so the German-speaking area. Glad to have you here, Javier. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can either put them in the chat or feel free to speak out at the end of the talk. So we will have a short Q&A after the talks of Inspiralia. And now I would like to hand over to Angel. We are really eager to deep dive into the world of EIC Accelerator.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction. Big pleasure being here today with you and being able to explain a little bit how the EU funds work, mainly focus on the health, the medtech and biotech topics, which I think we have a great opportunity in this sector to raise some public funds, non-dilutive money. And so today's idea is to go. I don't know if please tell me if you see my screen. Is it okay?
Yeah, it's working perfectly.
Perfect. So let's go for it. So today's idea is explain you a little bit what opportunities are there in Europe for these kinds of companies. I would like to go a little bit through the different funds that we can see, and I would like to start a bit introducing what the Horizon Europe is. This is a new not a new program anymore. It's the European programs that last normally for 7 years. This last one goes from the 21 and will continue on the 27, and it has mainly 3 main pillars where it's divided. It's we have the excellence science with ERC programs and Marie Curie's, the global challenges with clusters and JRCs, and the innovative Europe, which is the EIC is placed with the Accelerator Pathfinder Transition. We'll talk today mainly about clusters, Pathfinder Transition, which were the main topics or the main funding programs are, and more in detail about the accelerator more towards the end of the presentation. The European Union has been moving towards more closer to the market funding. You will see in my presentation. I will show you a little bit, and the way they classify the companies, or the way to, and yourselves also can classify yourselves, or where is the most appropriate program for you is the TRL. The TRL is the technology readiness level. This is very clear for engineering projects or engineering companies, but it's not that clear normally for when we talk about health-related companies, more difficult. I have there below a little bit the correlation between the TRL and what normally in the steps of a health-related company, a medtech company, how can we translate more or less this? You will see that there are, depending on your TRL, you have different programs that can be more suitable for you. For example, Pathfinder normally is going from the academia, from the bench, to having the first prototype. Then we have the transition that it's from this prototype to the first test, so the MVP that we might have. Then we have the cluster and the accelerator. Cluster is for as the name says, is for consortiums, big consortiums. You will see it. I will explain a bit further, go deeper into the details. And then we have the accelerator that is also going from a prototype until the market to being able to commercialize your solution. So let's start a little bit with the different programs that we have. The Pathfinder is the one that it's more related to the scientific side, to the academia, to the lab, let's say. And the goal of this program is to fund new technologies based on the integration of non-incremental innovation. So they want to fund deep tech, new innovations. Normally, it's even if in the work program they can, a single participant might participate in this kind of programs. The average is 5 to 7 participants consortium. That's the typical way, and at least the minimum requirement, according to our experience, according to the results we have been obtaining and talks we have with evaluators, a minimum of two institutions. Normally, typical is some academia and some industrial partners to develop this. We have two types of Pathfinders, what they call the open application. It's bottom up. Any kind of project can attend this deadline, this call. And we also have the challenges that are defined down in the bottom right part of this slide. You will see the different challenges. This the production of renewable fuels, chemicals, and materials. The second one is toward the cement and concrete as carbon sink. So nature-inspired alternatives for food packaging, nanoelectronics for efficient and advanced smart edge devices, or strengthen the sustainability and resilience of the EU space infrastructure. You will see they are very specific topics, and none of them are related to health or biotech or any of these topics. But good thing is that we have the open challenge that covers the rest of the topics, and luckily the open deadline is already passed, was last month, the 7th of March, and for the challenge we have the 16th of October to apply. You see here that for the open is 3 million, the maximum amount that we can ask. For the challenge is 4 million, and here we have the different budgets that we have, and the funding rate, so the intensity that it's funded, covered by the grant, is at 100%. You will see this is important. Not all of them cover all the expenses of the projects. I want to show here a little example of one of the winners that we had in the past. It was back in 2021. It's called Gamma MRI. This is a game changer molecular imaging technology for the point of care. As you see, there are 7 different participants, with Switzerland. Then in 2021 they were able to participate as coordinator. We have also Spain, France, Belgium, and Netherlands. So it's quite different countries, universities, research centers, and also private companies, with a budget of just above 3 million. And it's gonna end this next September. Now, the next in the scale of TRLs, it's the transition. It's going from the first proof of concept to the prototyping. So it's more or less between TRL 3, 4, up to 6. In that case, it's always bottom up, so open topics. There's no specific challenges for this one, and the main objective is the maturation of these ideas. Here we have seen the first modification, or the first tendency of the EIC to promote single companies, single applications. We have seen that even if in the work plan and of course they can be granted a small consortia from 2 to 5 entities, there's a tendency in the EIC to grant more and more single applicants in this transition. If you want to apply as a consortia, normally you should apply from at least two different countries or associated countries. And the main draw or the main complication of this program is the eligibility criteria, because not everybody can apply to the transition. You should fulfill at least one of those ones, being granted before with a FET or a Pathfinder, an ERC proof of concept, having been granted with the European Defence Fund or a RIA funder under this pillar, the pillar 2, the societal challenges and leadership in industrial technology. Also, there's a time constraint here that you might apply only if the project is in the last year of the grant or has finished in the last couple of years. Here, the intensity is again 100%, and between the grant goes from $500,000 to 2.5 million. Okay, so this is a bit how it works. We have two examples here. One granted back in 2022. This is a consortium of 5 different partners, skilled platelets, which is basically dealing with a large-scale ex vivo platelet production. And as you see, it was granted with almost 2.5 million, 2.4 to be more precise. And it's a 5 years project ending in the 30th of September next year. And as I was saying, that this transition towards a more individualized projects. We have the last example that was granted this year in April. It's an Israeli project dealing with liver disease early diagnosis through the exhaled volatile compound sensing, and it was granted with 2.5 million, again, single applicant. It started in April this year, and it's going to end in 2027 in March. The last of these programs that are for consortiums, that are for the early stages companies, is the thematic clusters. This is a top-down approach, so you have to fulfill the requirements of the different goals, the different clusters, as they are called. They are down there in the bottom right part of the slide. You have the different clusters that we can apply, and we have one specific for health, the cluster 1. So the goal here is to fund the technology based on the integration of not incremental technologies. Here, the consortium are quite big, so an average of 12, 15 companies and a minimum of 3. Here, that's a requirement of this kind of program. So a minimum of 3 different countries participating in the project. The budget is very high, quite high, from 2 to 20 million, and the average is around 6 million per project. So the funding intensity here, there are 2 different kinds of actions, the research and innovation or the innovation actions. It can be 100% for the research and innovation actions and 70% for the innovation actions. The 30% that it's left here should be provided by the company, by their own means, or the different companies participating in the consortium. Here we have an example of a project granted April last year. It's called InArmor. It's a therapeutic epigenetic enhancement of innate immunity to effectively combat antimicrobial resistance. There are 17 different participants in this project, spanning from universities, like the coordinator here is the University of Iceland, different research centers, and also different companies like Actelia or Veteranuvisan, the different shapes of types of participants, as you see. And it fell under the topic of the cluster 1, which was the health one. And there's a specific topic, as you can see, is the preclinical development, next generation of immunotherapies. So you have to fit in one of the different clusters that are published on every year, basically. And I'm gonna end here the part of the dealing with the consortiums, with the low TRLs, and I'm gonna focus this next part of the presentation in the accelerator, because we think it's the most interesting one for most of the companies, single applicants. As we were seeing before, it focuses on the last stages before entering to the market. So once you have the prototype, you are in the correct TRL, and you want to reach the market. So basically, here it's what there are two kinds of deadlines, or not deadlines, of two kinds of approach: the bottom up and the top down. They are both share the same deadlines, and different deadlines as they were in the other ones. And I will go through the challenges in a minute. But here the goal is to fund high innovative technologies, products, or services, and that can create new market and or disrupt the existing ones. And here you can see there are a new component that didn't appear before in any of the other programs, which have two different fund types: the grant, which can be up to 2.5 billion, and here it appears the equity. Equity is something that appeared, correct me here if I'm wrong, but I think 3-4 years ago. This program has evolved during the last years. There was only the grant component a few years ago, meaning that companies could ask for 2.5 million, and it put them in a position most of the times that they needed this private investment just after those 2.5 million. And in health, I mean, most of you are in this field, so you know 2.5 millions normally only it's for the few steps, and then of course you need extra amount of money to go for the clinical trials, for the different trials that you have to undergo, which are normally very expensive. Most of the companies, if no equity was involved, were dying after 2-3 years of existence after they finished the grant. So that the European Commission decided, okay, let's go with equity as a co-investment. So the European Commission is putting up to 50% of another co-investor that you companies have to bring to the table and to the conversations. This has an obvious impact in the funding schemes. They have an obvious impact in the evolution of the projects, but also it has a huge impact in how the European Commission is evaluating and seeing the project. Before it was only grant, so less information was needed. It's for 2 years, money. Now we're talking about big numbers. So what the evolution also makes the projects to be seen, or the EIC has been seen themselves as they are funding, they are as a VC, as a venture capitalist. So the information they're asking for is changing completely. The amount of precision or in the proposal is increasing drastically, because they want to be sure that what they put the money on is the right team, the right company with the right project, and they are going to be successful. Okay, so here again, the funding rate for the grant part only it's 70%, and you can use, of course, this equity to cover the other 30%. But this is quite important. How they are going to evaluate you, how you are going to be seen, is not anymore as a company that has a potential great future, but they are going to evaluate you as if they were playing with their own money. So they are more like a VC, a fund, rather than a public fund entity. As I said, there's an open part and a challenge. Here you can see the different challenges. For this year, there are 6 challenges: one for generative artificial intelligence, fostering 5.0 industry, quantum smart edge innovations, precision fermentation. There's also sustainable energy, and there's only one for health, which is monoclonal antibody therapeutics for new variants of emerging viruses. I think they couldn't be more specific for a challenge, and it makes it very difficult for a health company to fit into any of those challenges. We will see it in a few slides, but there's the open is where most of the health or medtech companies fit, and you will see we are quite successful in this area. So challenges are very specific. I wouldn't suggest any company, if they do not fit completely in the challenge, to apply, because you're going to be competing against companies that they do fit. So it will reduce the chances of success here. So the next few slides I would like to share a few numbers about the accelerator for you to see more or less how competitive it is, how it is divided. So here I have the different, for the last year, winning countries. So France is the one with the winner here. It's with 20, followed very closely by Netherlands. And Germany, it's not one in Germany, it's 11. I don't know why there's a mistake there's a typo. And then there's the other countries below with 8, 7, and so on. So in the developing in the Eastern countries, we have they are not on the top list, but they are starting to appear in the statistics. So I think you have a great opportunity to move those numbers, to shake this list and make other countries like Austria, Lithuania, Hungary, Czech Republic to appear in those lists, because we know there's a lot of entrepreneurship, there are a lot of great companies, but we need to push a bit those numbers and to make you appear in those statistics. Here there are a bit of the statistics of the how the percentage of the winners of the success, different steps that there are. I will go with the different steps in a minute, but out of more than almost 7,000 companies, only 150, so only 23% were invited to the interviews, and out of the invited, only 500 winners we have. So only only 8% of the participants that successfully passed the short step are then granted with the money. So this translates basically there's a very competitive program that evaluators are being more and more professional every time. So the detail, the deepness of the depth of the proposal is very, very, very high. They need information. They're asking for more and more information, and the level of detail is high. A little bit of numbers again, as I was mentioning before, challenges are very specific, and even the money is split or is supposed to be split equally. 70% or even more than 70% of the awarded funding goes to the open. This is a good news for health and health-related companies, because we can also only participate, most of us, in the open category. So most of the money goes towards the open category. Average funding, it's of course mixing here grant plus the equity, so it's around 6 million. The average money asked. Normally, most of the companies that we are seeing are asking for above 2 million in grant, 2.2, 2.3. So the rest up to the 6 million is what they ask in equity. So it's around 3-4 million depending on the company. Of course, there are cases of they ask for 2.5 plus 15, but average is what we see here. And here is a bit the topics, how they are divided, what are they funding most regularly. So as I said, we're quite lucky. Most of the projects fall into the health sector, diagnostic, digital health, drug development, everything. Almost 25% in the green sector, and a bit above 25 ICT, with ICT talking about quantum, energy, and industry, put them together. So as I said, almost 50% of the projects deal with health sector, and they are quite evenly divided between those four, let's call them subtopics, like drug development, medical devices, digital health, and diagnostics. So now I would like to go a little bit, what is the process? What do we have to do to obtain those grants? So the process is basically divided in 3 different steps. First, we have the short proposal, which is a 15 pages document that we have to submit with a 3 minutes video, where we talk about introducing the team, a little bit the summary of what we do, and what we would like to obtain thanks to these grants, to this money, and a 10-slide speech deck, which is not going to be the same that we are going to defend in the last step. It's just a slides with some extra documentation or some extra information, more graphical, to help understand the proposal. This has no hard deadlines. It's an open submission. It can be submitted anytime during the year, and it will be evaluated. Normally, it used to be faster, but now it's getting more into the 6-week time frame. And it's going to be evaluated by 4 evaluators, and you need at least 3 of them giving you the green light to proceed with the full proposal. Then, of course, we have the full proposal. This, as I was explaining before, it's getting harder as they are asking for more and more information, more precise information, because, as I said, they are seeing this as an investment, not as a grant only. So now we have to submit a 50 pages proposal. It's basically a business plan. It has more or less the same organization. Of course, at the end, we have some specifics that we need to fulfill, like the work packages and the work plan, the budget is specific for the program, but it's basically a very detailed business plan. We also have to submit the video. Normally, according to the work program and our experience, we can submit the same video as was submitted for the short proposal. We normally change it if there's any change, a big change in the company in this period. Then we have here, there's a typo, sorry, it's not a 10 slides pitch deck, it's a pitch deck for 10 minutes. Okay, pitch. Freedom to operate analysis, we have to submit also the CVs, all the publications that we can have that should be relevant for this. The financials, this is very important. Financials are key, and I think they are getting more and more relevance in this kind of program. They want to know your financial status, your health financially speaking, and also your projections. And they have to tell a story. They in the past they were not that important. I think anyone could more or less fill them up. Some not very rational, if I may say, but they are getting more and more relevant. Questions are being asked regarding the financials, the projections, all your numbers, pricing strategy, everything. So I think we have to take into consideration having very financial mindset, or someone in the team at least that can explain the story with the numbers, and they should be also very aligned, of course, with what we want to do, our strategy and our goals. For this full proposal, we have harder lines. There was one last month in March, the 13th of March, and the next one is the 3rd of October. They used to be 4 per year, but they reduced it this year only to one at the beginning of the year, one at the end. This is going to be evaluated by 3 different evaluators, and we need the 3 of them to agree that your proposal deserves to go to the next phase. And the next phase is the face-to-face, the pitch. Up to now, it has been held via Teams or WebEx, depending on the deadline. But this year it seems it's going to be back to be in Brussels, in the presence of the in person. Let's say it that way. This is a 10-minute speech plus a 40-minute question and answer. The jury is composed by 6 people, most of them more business-oriented than tech people. As I said, more PCs, experience in the field. They all have the background, and we know that they read the proposals. They go deep into the details, and normally you need a full consensus among the 6 of them to be granted. And this is the final step. If they decide you deserve the money, you will start the grant agreement discussions and all the process for the signature of the grant and the equity when it comes. So we know the process. I know you will have very good ideas, good projects, but what makes a good project, a good idea, a brilliant team with great ideas, what makes it a winner project? So basically what we need is a plan, or more specifically 3 different plans: development plan, a business plan, and a financial plan. Let's just start with the development one. Here we need our technical feasibility to be done. We need to have a deep tech project that our solution is based on scientific breakthroughs. This normally, talking specifically about health, is normally I don't like to use the word easy, but it's easier to get. Most of our projects come from research done in the university, our PhDs, our postdocs, so it's easier to show our scientific breakthroughs and showing that it's not an incremental thing. And on the left, we have the technical readiness level. I would like to share this slide, because even if it's not written anywhere officially, out of experience, what we know is that for health, it's quite different than for other projects, for other kind of topics or fields. For drug development, what they would like to see when we send a proposal is that at least the safety and toxicology studies in animals have been done. So it's putting us in a TRL 5 according to the definitions in health. And for the medtech or diagnostics, medical devices, they would like to see the safety or the first in human studies, which is a bit higher in TRL 6. So that's out of experience. It's not written anywhere. It's not in the work program, but according to evaluations that we have read, they want to see projects to be in those different steps. So let's go back, and now the team. The team is something crucial. Linking with what I was saying at just a few slides before about this tendency of being seen as more as a fun rather than a grant. So as a VCs, they want the team to be the perfect team to bring them to success. So they want the team, so the founders or the management people, to have experience in the sector or in other startups, to have been successful in to doing this transition from the lab to the market. And they want to see also the key founders and the managers to be engaged 100% in the project. These figures that used to exist, like people, I'm still in the university, so I only have a percentage of my time dedicated to the company, but I'm the CEO, or I have 2 students, which are it's going to be the CSO. It's not working anymore. They want the team to be fully involved in the projects. And also they want to see incentive schemes like ESOPs or any other kind of incentive schemes to the team. So how you are going to retain the talent that you have in your company. They want to have plans. They want you to show them plans to retain them. And also this is also something that didn't appear at the beginning, was the ownership. The founders, they want them to have still control of the majority of the stakes of the company. They don't want companies that are that diluted, the founders that cannot have they are not the decision makers. They want to invest in companies, even if afterwards they're going to be more diluted, but at least that are under control of the company. Okay. And the other part here in the development is the work plan. We have to exactly know what we want to do, how we are going to do it, how we are going to measure it, how much money we need, the duration, everything. We need to know about the next steps in our company. We have to explain it, and we have to defend it in front of the jury, of course. And this is something you will read quite often in my slides. KPIs, key performance indicators. We need to measure, quantify as much as possible. So we move to the next. Here is the business plan. As I said, what we have to present mostly is a business plan. So of course we need a market need, quantify which are the pains and of the relevant stakeholders we would like to address, and what is our unique selling point, our value proposition. We have to quantify how much better we are, how much faster, how much cheaper we are. So what are the benefits for our customers, for our end users? Okay. Then of course we need to know how we are going to make money. What is our pricing strategy? Which customers do we have? How they are? How do they behave? We need to know our market. What are the trends? What are the segments that we are going to address? How it's behaving? How big it is? How small it is? Everything about our market, and of course the competitors. We should know very well our competitors. There's always a competitor. We cannot say that our solution is so different that we have. No, there's always there's one, at least one. So we have to know them. We have to know their limitations, and we have to know how much better we are. But no, we cannot say anymore we are faster, we are cheaper. No, how much cheaper? How much faster? How much the detection limit? How we lower it compared to our competitors? Okay. And then, as I said also before, the financials are getting more and more relevant in these kind of programs. We need to know our financial needs. We need to detail our budget. How much are we going to need? How much money we ask, and why we need that money, where we are going to allocate that money. It should be coherent with the financials and the activities we propose to do. It's also good to show, because this is key, I think, the previous funding that we have had in our companies. It doesn't matter if it's public or private, because to demonstrate that we have achieved a TRL 5, 6 in our companies, so we need to have developed something. So it's in a health sector, at least, it's impossible to reach a prototype without any kind of public or private help. Okay. And this private part also gains a lot of relevance with the new co-investment that the European Commission is doing. So because we have to bring these co-investors, so we have at least to have letter of intent or some agreement signed with new investors. Okay, so this is key in this new program. So the new investor willing to take at least 50% of the financing round if we bring them to the proposal it gives us a lot of points to gain also the grant plus the equity here. So as a summary, here we have what we the different plans, the development, business, and financial. But of course, there are more things. Like the risk assessment, we need to know exactly which risks we have, the likelihood, what effects they might have in our project, and which mitigation plans we have. In health, it's key the regulatory roadmap, regulation, certification, regulatory compliance, everything we need to be able to commercialize any kind of product, device, drug that we would like to put in the market. There's a huge regulatory in Europe, but also in the US. We need to know it. We need to have the clear roadmap, how to gonna obtain the different certifications that we need. Of course, IP. IP is also key. We need patents. We need to protect our solutions. If we have no patents, no IP portfolio, or not a roadmap to obtain it, it's quite difficult that anyone is going to put money in our company. I'm not only talking about the grant here, but also in private money. And of course, we need to know our network to have the partnerships, the stakeholders, key opinion leaders in the health sector is very important. The role of the key opinion leaders, because normally the door openers for many of our solutions to gain access to hospitals. It's important to have these key opinion leaders on our side, identified or even being part of our team. Okay. So this is a little bit. I know it's a lot of information. Maybe it was a bit too much. Please, I'll be happy to answer any question in the Q&A that we have in a few minutes. And this is a bit our approach, how we work in Inspiralia. We go through a very tough or deep validation process of the project. As you saw, this is a very tough, long process. A lot of information is required, so we don't want to make you lose your time or use your patience trying to apply for in a moment that you are not ready. So we want to assess you are in the right fit, you are the right fit, you are in the window of opportunity. And in case you are not, we try to help you to reach it. So we'd like to write a roadmap where are the weaknesses, where we have to work to fit exactly in what the EIC is looking for. We set up a team of at least 2 people working exclusively, completely dedicated to the project. We prepare all the documents that you need. We also prepare you for the interview, preparing mock interviews and strategic training. And of course, we also help in the project management support for the grant and equity negotiations and all the after you're granted in the project management. Here I bring just a few examples of recent winners, different countries. Vesale Pharma, they were producing phages to fight against antimicrobial resistance. Diogenex, they were developing drugs for diabetes. Kilsbio, they are producing silk for nerve reparation. And the last example is Liaclass, Italian company that were developing this flash IORT for clinical use. They were granted almost a maximum grant, and the EIC equity they asked for almost 5 million. This was last year. So those were a few examples. You see that different from drug development, some medtech, so different fields that are granted, all covered in health. All of them, I have to say, went through the open path. None of them could participate in the challenge, but we are having a good outcome out of the health sector. And just a few words about our team. We have Inspiralia offices in UK, Austria, Germany, and Mexico. Our headquarters is where I'm based in Madrid, Spain. We have more than 25 nationalities with more than 90% profiles, with are now almost 120 people. But I leave this information more to Javier, that it's coming next to talk. So thank you. I don't know if I went too fast or there was a lot of information. Happy to answer any of the questions later in our Q&A that we have in a minute. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Angel or Pascal.
Thank you, Angel. Yeah, also from my side, Javier, you would like to continue?
Yes.
Please go for it.
Thank you very much for inviting us and for organizing this a webinar. I will try to share my screen.
Yes, we can already see it, not the presentation. Now,
no.
perfect. Yeah.
Yes. So just to complement what Angel explained about the European funding and what Inspiralia mission is and what we do, we are. Well, I'm one of the managing directors of Inspiralia DACH. So we take care of projects in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. What we try with our service, with our, we call it 360-degree premium service, is to cover all the eventualities about funding. So we work, we analyze when we receive a project from a client, which level of funding or at which level of of um, of of funding the project fits better. So it can be a local grant, a regional funding, it can be a national funding, or it can be a EU or international funding. So we really analyze these projects and try to set up a strategy on which instrument fits better into the eventuality of our clients. We also cover all the focuses of funding. So we not only do research and development projects or innovation projects, which are the main characteristic of EU funding, but at national level, we also cover funding for environmental activities or for digitalization or for investment projects, so greenfield investments. We do this in the countries where we are represented, which is as I said, Germany, Austria, Switzerland. In some other countries, we have partners to cover this, like in Italy, France, or some Eastern European countries. And we also have Inspiralia in USA, where we also cover these different activities for funding. We work not only with startups or small businesses, which are the main receivers or beneficiaries of public funding, but we also work with a lot of mid-size and big companies and multinationals. So we have a good expertise in dealing with these different categories. In the end, it's a completely different need that a startup has in terms of support than maybe a multinational or a big company, which needs a completely different approach in terms of setting up a strategy and setting up the applications, the writing of the applications. And last but not least, we also have a big expertise in all the process of that has to do with with public funding. So the first one, setting up a strategy. The second, obviously, the main part, which is writing the application, where we take the responsibility of writing the application and submitting it on time, where many funding instruments have a deadline. So we make sure that we set up a process with our clients so that we are able to reach a deadline. Obviously, the administrative part of the submission is very relevant, and also the accounting or project management after the project is funded, so that we can support you effectively and you can justify all your project, and you don't need to pay money back, because that's the worst part that can happen when you receive a funding and then you need to pay it back because you did not comply with whatever regulations. So we've been around for 30 years now, more or less. We have a very big international activity through these European funding programs, where we cover more than 30 countries. In the DACH region, we are around 40 employees out of a total of 120. And in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, we have 6 locations, and we are very proud of our success rate at national or in the region, which is around 90%. So in the EU, I think we are at around 30% success rate, which is also quite high, taking into account the high competitiveness. So as I said, we try to make your life easier within the funding world. We take over all the relationship, so the writing of the application, the submission, the communication with the funding agency. We chase you if there's a deadline, and we also help you with the project management. So this is our team in the DACH region, a quite enthusiastic and young team. And yes, if you have any questions, I think it's now the time for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Javier. Are there any questions from the audience? Please put them in the chat or just feel free to speak out. Mark?
I would have two questions actually.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one,
Please go for it.
both somehow some obvious. So first of all, thank you very much for your time. First would be, do you share this two slide decks with us? And the second one would be, I still didn't get how is your operational mode? So how do you operate depending on the, is this depending on the grant, or is it always on success, or how do you operate?
Okay, our business model is based mainly on a success fee, which is a given percentage of the funding that you receive. We also usually charge what we call entrance fee or retainer, more to get this binding compromise with our client or from our client. It's different depending on the program and on the relationship we have with the client and even the phase, but we cannot finance all the projects that we do at 100%. Also, when you think about the timing of the grant, so this is proposed on a case-by-case basis, and we only do it once we have validated the project. So our process is that the very first step is a technical validation.
Mm-hmm.
Do you fit here or do you not fit here? With a very quite detailed analysis, which we share with our client. And if it's negative, then there are no costs for the client. If it's the technical validation is positive, then we make a personalized proposal based on many factors. So how strong is documentation, how strong is the project, what has it's been done before. So, for example, it's not the same approach as when you've won a short application and you want support for the long application than if we start from scratch. Mm-hmm. So there are different measures there, but we think it's a fair deal for everyone.
No, it's good. I just wanted to know somehow what's I mean, I guess
and
also if the success rate is higher, then for sure the price will be lower than if you compare it to an EIC where there's maybe 8% overall chance to win it. So then for sure the risk for everyone is higher. So I can totally understand this. I was just curious about how you do this. Yeah, thank you. And I mean, we can talk in more detail then when it comes to concrete things. Yeah.
And I assume that we can also share the slide because we also recorded this. So we will also share the recording and then we can also share the slide.
Thanks.
No problem.
Any other question from the audience?
Can I ask? Maybe it's not relevant, but I'm as technology park. I'm thinking how to empower, how to support, how to find those companies who are high related, who are appropriate for. Because yes, this EIC Accelerator is not for everyone. So any strategies, any best practice, how to find and yes, how to find those companies.
That's a great question, by the way. Very good. It's not easy, as you mentioned, as you said. It's the level of maturity that the companies should have is not easy to find everywhere. But I think it's a matter of following them a bit earlier in time and trying to prepare them to be ready, rather than finding them just in the sweet spot, because it's difficult. So I think we should prepare companies to be more ready for an investment, regardless of the program or regardless of the grant. So that they should be ready in terms of financial maturity. They should be ready in terms of technical maturity to help them to do those little steps that will bring them to the sweet spot where they can apply to the EIC Accelerator. So I think the best strategy is maybe not trying to look for the best fit at the right moment, but build it a little bit. Try to find them 1 or 2 steps before or behind this moment, and accompany them until they are in the right moment. What we look normally when we do the validation is that they have the right team, that the team is committed. I think that's very important, that the team is fully committed to the company, that the technology they bring to the table is disruptive, it's deep tech, it's not something that they're building on top of something already that exists, that they are in the correct TRL, so that the readiness level is there. We normally also look at the previous funding. They should have some previous funding. They should have known how to move the money, what to do with the money, and so on. Those are the mainly 3 basic pillars. Of course, there are more things. We can go into the details in another meeting, but I think those are the main pillars that we check normally.
Yes, I wanted to add one of the criteria that can be followed is if the companies have been successful before with national funding for research and development, because as Angel said, the EIC Accelerator starts at TRL 6, so that's where normally national funding stops, which stops at TRL 5 with the first prototype. So if a company has been successful with national grants for R&D, those are a good indicator that the technology is really something that can be successful, because it comes from a kind of history of being successful before. And that's what you meant with raising money. And if on top of that they have raised some money from business angels or from smaller venture capital companies, that's also a good indicator that somebody's trusting them, because there's a business behind it. So on the one hand, the technology, and on the other hand, the business. That's those, and the third pillar is the team. So these 3 things are indicators that it could be a good candidate.
Great. I think Andre had a question, and then we also have Vitautas. Sorry for my pronunciation. Sorry.
Yes. So from my side, I would have 2 questions. One, I think I saw on some slide that founders have to own the majority of the shares of the company. So I wanted to understand this a little bit better. And the second question is just to understand how the grant is usually paid out. So how is it usually getting to the company? In how many parts? Yeah.
Okay. If I will start from the second question. It's changed. It's a lump sum. So you get, if I'm not mistaken, around 60% at the beginning when you sign the grant agreement. Then once you complete the different work packages, the different tasks, you get the rest of the money. Before it was, I think, 50, 30, 20. So 50 at the beginning, 30 at the end of the first year, 20 at the end of the project. Now it's lump sum. So you have to justify that you have finished the different work packages. But you get an upfront payment of around 60%. Regarding the first question about the stakes of the company, as I was saying, they see themselves, the EIC, as investors, not as only the evaluators of a program, of the project, sorry. So they want to invest in companies that can make the decision makers are the founders still. So of course you can be diluted, but still among the different founders having the control of the company. Maybe there's the possibility that you don't have the majority of the shares, but your shares have the final word. Let's say they are special shares that you can have the priority when taking a decision. They don't want to invest in companies because at the end this money is going to go, if it's like that, it's going to go to the founders, it's going to go to the team that is going to develop. Otherwise it can be seen as they are giving the money to a VC. If they have 60% of the company, or to a corporate VC, which is even worse in that case. From their point of view, they want founders to have the control of the situation. to be the decision makers, not to depend on third parties to make the decision, because then the money cannot be used or is not well seen. Basically, that's why they like this situation. Again, this is not written, but this is what we see on a regular basis.
And I would like to add that in the evaluation of the commission, they say if the company is already in a majority in the hands of a VC or a venture capital company, then they should take care of that company. And if it needs investment, look at your VC, not at us, because we need to support those that do not have not come so far. So that's a bit the argument, which I think makes sense. Yeah, they want to support people and not other VCs.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Vytautas, you had a
Hello.
question?
Yes, I'm Vytautas from Lithuanian Innovation Center. And within the scope of another project called ENTEC, we work with widening countries and we do the capacity building activities in those widening countries with the help of local EN partners. We help EN partners to work with companies who are the potential EEC applicants. So my question is, if you are present in some widening countries, or if you have preference for some widening countries with whom you work with, and if so, we could speak further if you would like to increase your presence in these countries. Thanks.
I think we're actually no Javier. I mean, maybe you can take that one, but it would be great to have contact in the widening countries.
Yes, we have some loose partnerships, I would say, with some companies in Poland and in Hungary, Czech Republic. Not a systematic or continuous approach, but of course we would be very interested in widening out our network, and if we can contribute with our experience, we would be very happy about that. So maybe we can arrange a meeting afterwards or in the next days to talk about this more in detail. In fact, it's interesting also for us because the Commission is pushing this a lot to extend the program to Eastern European or widening countries. So yeah, definitely. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for the question. We can have a meeting in the next days. I guess Pascal can send us the
perfect. Let's do that.
The contact data.
If I may, because I think, sorry, Pascal, maybe I jumped you, but I saw there was a quite linked question from Sylvia. The why the Europe are without a lot of, Eastern countries are not with a lot of success. I think this is why the EIC is trying to push a little bit to increase that success in the Eastern countries. I think maybe there was a lack of a powerful entrepreneurship or network helping companies to reach the different stages. I think also the market or the typical industry is completely different. It has also happened not only in the Eastern countries, but normally Italy and Spain were two of the most successful countries in the EIC Accelerator, and now they are bottom of the list. Italy is a paradigm of shift. It's amazing being like top of the list. Now it's almost bottom in the third biggest country, if I'm not mistaken. It is because of the typical industry is not granted anymore. The typical projects have switched into more startups, real startups, another environment. And I think that the network in those countries was not mature enough or was oriented towards another kind of companies. I think it's a matter of building, as I think Vytautas, sorry, I hope I pronounce your name correctly, is helping. So I think we need to develop these ecosystems. We need to help the countries. We need to the companies in the countries to reach this level that the EIC is looking for. I think there are plenty of good ideas, plenty of good companies with a lot of potential. But there's this need to cover this gap also financially from lower TRLs to help them reach the level, because otherwise, without, as Javier was mentioning before, without the help from national grants, national networks, national basically networks that help and grants that help build this ecosystem, and more people can apply. And I'm pretty sure that, I mean, scientifically speaking, and ESA countries are great, and they always generate papers, good ideas, patents. Why they cannot jump into the market? I think it's a matter of ecosystem a little bit, and helping building this network, and maybe those steps need to be fulfilled. And then, of course, I'm pretty sure they will bring those ideas to the market, and they can become as successful as other countries. Why France and Germany and Netherlands probably are the best ones now, because of that ecosystem. They have been working towards that since the last, I don't know, but many years. So that's where the other countries have to step in. I hope I answered the question to you.
Jarek, you have another question?
Yes, hello. Maybe not a question, but summary. Together with Sylvia, we represent the HTS Cluster from Gdańsk, north part of Poland. Our day-to-day job is cooperating with IT companies, R&D companies, and we see that companies are more and more interested in projects at the EU level. We had many years with the Polish structural funds for R&D, but now those money are harder to get at the national level. So as an ICT cluster, we are also interested in having a talk with you afterwards. Maybe we can think of some ways how to have the win-win situation, because our companies need the information how to do it, how to be successful. And I think that in the next years they will be more and more interested in applying directly to the international programs.
It would be great. More than happy to have, as Javier was mentioning before, a conversation in the next few days, and find means of collaboration, or how can we proceed with that.
Great.
Ignas has another question.
I also from a company Lithuanian Innovation Center, like my colleague Vytautas, and I would like to ask you specifically about the Inspiralia, the management of the biggest probably problems with consulting companies when they using in the first steps the senior advisors, and after they messing this with the junior advisors. And some companies, of course, from our country, we faced it and have, of course, some negative opinion regarding some consultancy companies. How you deal with this issue? Because we understand that you have this 3-4 levels of seniority in your company. So if you want, let's say, sell your services to our companies and to our consortia, which means all widening countries we involved, how we can sell you?
Of course, it's like every company will have different levels of seniority. It's obvious. Normally, I can speak from my team. All of the people working in my team, they have the PhD. So scientifically, we put a lot of interest and at least speaking the same language as our clients. Language meaning scientific, so we understand. We always set a team of 2 people, always. So to avoid this happening, that a very junior person alone working with a such a big project normally is very difficult. So we always set up a minimum of 2 people working in the project. And of course, we have internal discussions about the project, and we like to challenge the different companies we work with. It's as you today being such a competitive programs, not having the background, scientific background, it's impossible to understand. First, impossible to understand the project, and normally it's a failure. We should also understand what they are looking for, the EIC, because we need to translate, because sometimes we deal with very scientific people, so they don't see the business side. We need to put that into the table also. We need to convince first, and then to translate all that information into the European language, let's call it that way. So that's how we do it. We like to work always with a team of 2, minimum 2 people. One can be a bit more junior, of course, but it's a matter of, because we select our team depending on the topic of or the specific field of the project. So sometimes it can be one junior, but the other one is always a senior. Never 2 juniors together, or never only a junior. Always one senior, and maybe there's a junior there, but with a PhD, with a correct background, to understand what they're talking about, and to be able to write a project with a scientific background. Javier, I don't know if you want to add something.
No, you said it perfectly. I think we focus on quality, and what I think that our team can do is not only understand what the company is doing, but also the context of the market. And many times, or we also do the validation meeting, which I mentioned before, with the seniors. So, and they come back with many technical questions, or saying, look, I've seen this and this and this. As a competitor, what's your USP? Because you're telling me you're unique. I see 3 different alternatives, because they are in the market, they know the market. So that's the first challenge we do. And it's not just taking the information and checking the box. Yes, they have 3 employees. Yes, they have that. It's really challenging also the idea. And yeah, that's our approach.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Thank you.
Monica had another question, if there is any assessment, or if you know if spin-offs are also successful in a EIC Accelerator.
Yes, of course. I mean, spin-offs, it's I guess the meaning spin-offs coming from out of universities or research centers, I guess. Yes, they are, because they fulfill one of the main criteria, that they are dealing with deep tech technologies. I mean, it's very difficult for a health company to build something technologically so different in health sector, mainly, if you're not coming from a university. The only drawback or the risk that they have a spin-offs that they're not mature enough. There are a lot of spin-offs. I could say that maybe I'm in health sector working with 60-70% of them are a spin-off of big research centers or universities, the winners. So that's very typical. But it's not just when they became a spin-off. They should have at least 1-2 years of maturity to reach the level. The problem there, normally spin-offs, typically there's still people in the university, half time in the spin-off, half time in the university. My team is, most of them are my PhD students, so I use them both ways. And I still have all my research and everything is done in university, and I just a little part of my time. So this is the difficult part at the beginning. So that's why I'm saying they need this period of maturity to become a good candidate. But the spin-offs, I would say many of them are spin-offs, most of them.
Any more questions? We had quite a lively discussion, as we mentioned before, or in the registration period. There's also the opportunity to have one-on-one consulting meetings with Inspiralia, like a first meeting without any costs. At the moment, there are only 2 registered, so please, because it's an individual link that you will get then, please like speak out or reach out to us or Javier or Angel. Should we share some contact details, or which contact details can we share, that if anyone else is interested in an individual consulting meeting?
I will put my address in the chat.
Yeah, me too.
So feel free to write directly and ask for a meeting, and we will arrange it in the next days.
We had one final question from Eduardo, I see.
Yes. Yeah, I just read it. So of course they can still fund scale ups or the growth phases, and they also support the market entry, but they need to at least in the health sector they supporting breakthrough technologies, innovative technologies. So I don't mean it by spin-off that only spin-off can apply there. We have also other kind of companies, but they are tending more and more to this because of the reasons I want to explain, that they see themselves as a fund. The scale ups normally they have gone through other rounds, maybe A round, B round, so they are more diluted. So sorry, I was just another question came up and I was distracted. So it's not that it's impossible, but I think that the trend is to support more and more spin-offs that are in a level of maturity enough, but with not enough funding. So they need the EIC to reach the next step. That's the main answer to that. I don't know if it was clear enough from my side.
Yeah, Eduardo said sure. And there was also another question from Sylvia. Have you ever taken part in a project which used hop-on mechanism, and what is your opinion about it?
I'm not the expert. It's because it's adding. I think if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong. Widening countries this is for the clusters or for this kind of projects. We have an expert in Inspiralia in Madrid with these classes. I think if you want a specific information, I think Roman can answer that. Javier, I don't know if you have more information about that. I don't want to say anything that is wrong, basically. So sorry for not being able to answer clearly.
I understood the hop-on mechanism is like the company, the countries that can suggest. They have a pool of companies that they can suggest directly to the long application. Is that what you're thinking about, Sylvia? Sorry.
Hello, everybody. Hop-on is a mechanism that during project some of participants can be added to activities from outside of previous participants. So, for example, project is leaded and use hop-on mechanism, and some of participants from another countries or the same countries are current participants can add to project and
I understand. So the answer is no.
Okay.
We don't have experience with this mechanism.
For me, it's very interesting because I know that some of small SMEs or universities can use this mechanism and add to and participate thanks to it in big projects in European Union. So it changed.
Yeah.
For us.
Okay. No, I think this is then not related specifically to the accelerator, but to other funding. Okay. But no, we have not had specific experience with any project coming from that mechanism.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for all the great questions, and we are like already 15 minutes above time because we had such a inspiring discussion, and I think it's great that everyone is so interested. And I hope that you have like more individual meetings or more interested in reaching out, or we will also spread this information in our program. And with that, I would like to thank you, Angel and Javier, again for your presentation and all the information. And thanks to everyone for being here, for listening, for participating, and have a nice day.
Thank you very much, everybody. Big pleasure. You have our addresses there, so thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye
very
bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.